Okay, so very, very welcome to everybody. This is a quick tutorial. I wanted to do this live webinar just to make sure that everybody that has recently gotten TradingView, because we had that sweet Black Friday and a Cyber Monday deal, that was pretty good. But even regardless, even if you've had TradingView for a couple of months or you just got it today or whatever the case is, TradingView is a super reasonably priced platform, so that's something that's really good. But in my opinion, it's the best charting platform out there. It's just super great, so I love it. Hey Don, welcome from the UK. Glad to have you. So we're just going to talk about a couple of details here: how to use it, how to make the most out of it, a few of this and a few of that, um, and we'll take it from there. If you have not signed up for TradingView and you wanted to kind of look at this tutorial and see if it's something you want to sign up for, I do have an affiliate link. You can kind of sign up in our Day Traders FX TradingView group there, and I will post that. It's posted in the email that you were sent to join this webinar. It'll also be posted in the recording below under the video when it's posted, and then I'll put it in the chat as well. So if you want to get a hold of that, I will happily get that for you. Okay, so TradingView and all of its awesomeness. So those of you that have kind of watched any of my webinars or watched anything that I do, you know that I do all of my charting on TradingView. All my Forex charting on TradingView as opposed to MetaTrader. Now I still use MetaTrader to execute trades, and I use MetaTrader for some of my MetaTrader specific indicators, but I really do most of all of everything on TradingView outside of that. So this is who you're talking to, Jared and the family here. This is me and my kiddos doing a Disneyland trip. I need to update this picture because now we all have skis on and we're doing front flips down the mountain. So, but anyways, just always like to make sure everyone has a face to the name. You can see who's talking to you about what. Jared Johnson, Day Traders FX founder, lots of years of fun Forex trading experience, lots of years of training. Super happy to be with you guys today. So we're going to talk about TradingView. Any questions you have during, after the webinar, anything, obviously you can type things right into the webinar here. And you can also just head over to daytradersfx.com. You can click on the contact button. You can just start clicking around and seeing what's going on over there. But if you have a specific question, you can just hit contact, and that email will come right to me via my assistant. She'll make sure that I get everything and make sure that everything is up and running. So there we go. Okay, so TradingView, our charting platform, there's so much great stuff on here. We're going to get right down to it. But one question that I get asked a lot is, people say, well, which plan should I get? Which plan should I have gotten? All that stuff, right? So here's a little bit about that. Now, remember, we just had the Black Friday and Cyber Monday deals, and TradingView definitely knocked a good little chunk off. I have the Pro Plus plan, and I just made sure to renew mine. I paid $179 for the year. Normally, it's $299 for the year. So, I mean, I saved a pretty good little chunk, almost half from the typical annual billing there. Now, you do save a little bit of money by doing the annual billing monthly. You can see everything's $15 a month for the basic. Well, free for the basic, but $15 a month for the Pro, about $30 a month for the Pro Plus. And if you do yearly, you save a couple bucks a month on that. Now, what's the difference from all these plans, and why not just get the free plan versus the Pro versus the Pro Plus or the Premium? So just a little bit about this. You can obviously come over here and see some of this stuff. But just to give you a little heads up, so the basic plan, which I recommend everyone, start to get familiarized with. If you don't have TradingView currently, you can just go sign up for the basic. It's just free. you get limited indicators. You get 3 indicators on your charts. You can't save multiple watch lists. You know, it's pretty restricted, but it works. And you get live price feed for Forex specifically, which is awesome. But 3 indicators, 1 chart alarm, and you're pretty limited to what you can do. Most people are going to find the Pro or the Pro Plus to be the best options. So basic is a little too basic for what we need, and premium probably has more than what we need. So pretty much the Pro or Pro Plus is going to be the best option for most of you here. And I would say that the biggest things that happen between the Pro and the Pro Plus is the number of alerts you get that you can use on your charts. So you can see down here, where is the alert listing? There we go. So the alerts on the basic plan, you get 1 alert, which means you could set a spot on the chart so that you get alerted when the price gets to this certain place on the chart, right? You can have 1 of those running at a time on the free version. On the Pro version, you can have 10 of those running, and on the Pro Plus, you can have 30. Now, I use alerts a lot because it saves me a lot of time from having to watch my charts constantly. I get up in the morning, I'll look at, you know, a lot of setups. I'll say, okay, when this gets down to a double bottom, I want this to alert me so that I can know that I might need to be trading off that double bottom or whatever. And so I use the alerts for that. And we'll talk a little bit more about that when we get to the tutorial side of it, but the alerts are really, really handy. So that's one of the big things that's different between Pro Plus and the Pro. So you get about 3 times as many alerts that you can use at any given time on the Pro Plus versus the Pro. You do get some other features on Pro Plus versus Pro, but again, for the average trader, number of alerts is going to be kind of one of the biggest things, and it really is worth the money. Again, I use these alerts a lot because they save me so much time, so much time. So, but again, the Pro version is going to be fine for many, if not most. If you're just a kind of a regular Forex trader, the Pro version is just fine. If you're kind of a, you know, you've been trading Forex for a while, you've got a pretty good system and a pretty good thing that you're doing, and maybe you're trading some stocks as well, and you're doing a few things, then you probably want to go with the Pro Plus. You can have some extra alerts and some extra, you know, features that you can use to kind of, you know, make the most out of the platform. So that's our pricing situation for TradingView, and it's pretty great. Any questions, guys? By the way, just don't hesitate to stop me. I'm happy to stop and go over anything. Okay. Now let's get down to the charts. Right. This is the basic layout of the charts. Now remember, TradingView is great for, you know, you can trade pretty much, or you can at least chart pretty much anything. Obviously, I'm a Forex trader mostly, and I trade other things as well, but most of my time is spent trading Forex. And so I have all my Forex charts here, but you can just type in anything you want over here, right? If you want to look at a stock, you want to look at anything, you can just type it in this upper left corner, right? And if you don't know the name of something that you're trying to find, whether it's a stock, whether it's a currency, whatever it might be, you can type the full name. If you're thinking to yourself, I kind of want to see what Facebook is doing because I like using Facebook. So you can just type in Facebook, and it's going to give you a whole list. See these subcategories right here? You have all stocks, futures, Forex, CFDs, cryptocurrencies, index, economies, so on. Just always make sure you clicked on all. If you really want to narrow things down, you know, you can go to futures or Forex or whatever you want specifically, but typically you just want to be in that all section right there. So whatever you type in, it's going to scan everything and give you that best category there. And Mel, going back to your question there, how do you tell which version you have of TradingView? So if you go over here, and you can go to you can go to your name right there. So again, in the upper left corner where those 3 lines are, go to your name. You may have a picture there, you may not. you can go to accounts, billings, profiles, settings, all of that. But if you want to know which version you have under accounts and billings, you'll see some details in there. So that'll get you all the details about that. Okay, guys. So so that's a little bit of where we're going to start to find where we want to look at. Now, remember, one thing that people always kind of ask me is, I forget where I'm supposed to go. Am I supposed to go here? Am I supposed to go here to type stuff in? Where do I go? If you want to type something in, you can actually, you don't have to click anywhere. You can just, as long as you're kind of in the middle of the screen there, you can just type in whatever thing you want, and it'll pull up the list right here in the middle. So if I want to look at the Australian dollar, I can just type Aussie dollar or US dollar. And you can see, now here's kind of the next thing, a list of multiple feeds will pop up here. I personally like to actually use, even though my own current Forex broker is Oanda, I actually like to use FXCM's feed. So I use their feed, which also happens to be the first one that pops up. They have a really good feed. It's really reliable. It seems to be kind of one of the more watched, more used. So I kind of try to use that one. So specifically on the currency side of things, you can pick whatever you want. You can pick Oanda, you can pick Forex.com, and some of these feeds go back even further. You've got Saxo Bank, the Forex, the ICE feed goes back quite. Sometimes this will have more history than the rest, so I'll look at that from time to time. But most of the time, I just want to look at FXCM's feed, and since it's the first feed, I don't have to type something in like this and then go over here and select it, because it's the first feed, so I can just actually type that and hit enter. And then it's all right there. So I can just type it and hit enter, and that way I don't need to go and select from all the different feeds because I'm using the first one on the list anyway. Okay, Patty, question. The indicators you mark on your screen, and if you save it, were you able to see those indicators on the version at home because you have yes, Patty, I think you're making sense. That's a good question. And I'm definitely going to cover that, how to save these indicators, how to add them, how to kind of access everything from various places. So yep, we'll definitely go over that. Absolutely. Just a little bit of kind of feeling your way around what some of these buttons are. This is where we select what we want to look at. Here's the time frames right here. If you want to kind of make it easier so you don't have to select from a long list of time frames, with any indicator, any time frame, anything, you can always just kind of favorite these buttons, right? If you say, you know what, I just find myself looking at the 1 hour chart and the 4 hour chart and the daily chart, and I'm hitting the little gold stars next to each of those. When you put your cursor over there, you'll see that little star area pop up. So I'm hitting the gold stars next to each of those. And now I have the 1 hour, the 4 hour, the daily up here. I don't have to go to the drop-down menu. I can just click and kind of see everything from there. Now, I so happen to look at so many different time frames that I want to be able to kind of select through those, but that's an easy way to kind of find, to get just kind of quick, easy access. Now, we're going to talk about these buttons over here in a second, but let's go down this way for just a moment. There are a ton of buttons over here. Now, it doesn't look like there's that many because you say, oh, maybe there's 10, right? But actually, these are kind of pop-out menus. So if I go to this little arrow on the side of the crosshairs, you can see I can use crosshairs, dots, the eraser. This is to kind of erase things on your charts and so on. So that's all in there. Here's where my trend line is, but you can see that there's 15 or 20 things in there, and then I've got all of my Fibonacci and pitchfork and everything you can imagine in there. There's quite a few features. Over here we have our drawing tool and some of the shapes that we can use on our charts, right? So there's just a lot of different things in here. Text, you can mark, you can do a lot of different things on your charts. Remember, guys, I encourage you to get in here, poke around. get familiarized with everything. You know, if you want to use some of these shapes or some of these guys right here, you know, and put something in there, go for it. Just play around with it. Remember, anything that you draw on here, if you click on it, so if I just click on this right now, it's going to now show some dots, and that's telling me that that's selected. And when I have something selected, this option box will pop up here. Anytime, no matter what it is. If it's a horizontal line, a trend line, any random thing that I draw. And if I want to get rid of it, I can just click on that little garbage can right there, or hit delete on my computer. Again, if it's a trend line, that little box is popping up. And if I want to get rid of that, click on the trend line, hit delete. Or, there it is, click on the trend line, and I'm hitting delete or backspace on my keyboard as well, and that gets rid of it. So of all these features and functions, there's a bunch in here, and I have created, just like I did, just like you can do over here with your charts, you can click that little star next to everything to kind of just make that shortcut so you don't have to go through the whole menu. The same thing goes for all of these buttons over here. The buttons that most people are going to need and use are going to be trend lines, horizontal lines, an arrow, you know, if you want to kind of point at some stuff, an arrow, the eraser, crosshairs. Don't really need my crosshairs because that's kind of my default setting, but anyway, I got my crosshairs. I actually have this little price measurement. This is called date and price range, and that's found right over here. All of these buttons come from one of these, really one of these kind of 5 menus or 6 menus right here. So everything I have on here. The price range is pretty cool. You can kind of click and drag and click, and that will tell you percentage, pips, days, times, bars, all that stuff. But I have everything that I personally need and use. But again, most people will just need a trend line, horizontal line, an arrow, an eraser, text, drawing, the brush. So all of that can be found over here. So what I would recommend doing is find a find the things that you want, right? So over here we have trend lines. So you go to trend lines, click on that gold star, and that's going to start building a little kind of shortcut menu for the buttons that you want. So just click that star like I did for my trend line, horizontal line, click the star, arrow, click the star. And anything I want to add to this list, I can just hit that star, and you can see that it was added right there. If I want to take it away, if I say, oh, you know what, I don't want that thing, just go back over here, and I hit the star, and it's gone. So that is going to be pretty important because we want to just make kind of an easy to access kind of shortcut menu that's not going to, you know, because it can be a little bit cumbersome trying to, okay, where was the menu, you know, where was the button that I was trying to find? I can't remember. It was one of these, and there's 25 options, and I got to scroll through all of them. Spend 5 or 10 minutes just going through each one of these. Okay, is there anything on here that I need? Star it. Anything on here that I need? Star it. And again, you know, probably the only things you're going to really need on here, trend line, horizontal line, arrow. The rest of them I don't really ever use ever. Anything in here, I don't have anything starred in here. A lot of people like Fibonacci, and that's right in there. You can star that. That'll pop up right there. And just spend a couple of minutes. You know, there's kind of a setup process that if you put a few minutes in, it makes everything really quick and easy to kind of use and get through and so on. So that's those buttons there. I'm going to talk a little bit more about customizing some of these things in just a moment. A few buttons down here that you want to look at. This button right here, this is called the magnet mode, and oftentimes people get on this and you start noticing that your drawings get crazy, right? If you're on the magnet mode and you see that, you know, everything can get a little bit ski-wampus on the magnet mode, especially trend lines and so on, you want to make sure that that's mostly unselected, right? Because what the magnet mode will do is it's going to help your lines stay next to stuff. But you can see my trend lines get a little bit, they get a little bit wiggly on magnet mode, and there's certain things that I can't adjust and do. And so if you find yourself getting frustrated, what's going on with my charts? It's probably in magnet mode. And you want to make sure that you're not in magnet mode. So I just click on that, and the magnet's not highlighted. The two most important things to kind of watch here is magnet mode. We don't want that highlighted. And stay in drawing mode. We don't want that highlighted either. So if I have stay in drawing mode, so you can see that little pencil in that lock, which is selected and kind of stuck there. If I do that, and I try to draw a trend line, I say, okay, here's a trend line I want to draw here, and then now I'm just constantly, you know, and you think to yourself, okay, I'm trying to move my chart. How come I can't move my chart? I'm just trying to click and drag my chart, and I keep having these trend lines pop up. That's because you're stuck in drawing mode. So I also have that unselected. And when I'm out of drawing mode, it means that I can always draw things, but it just does one time, and then it defaults my cursor back to just normal, right? So now I've got a trend line selected. I can draw a trend line. When I'm done with that, now my mouse is back to normal. It's not continually drawing trend lines or continually drawing levels. Does that make sense? Is everybody with me so far? So we're just kind of talking about these buttons over here and some of these things and what they do for us. So we don't want magnet mode for the most part. We don't want stay in drawing mode. If you have a ton of things drawn on your chart and you just want to get rid of all of them and clear it all out as far as your drawings go, hit that little garbage can right there. That'll remove all drawings. Now, one more button down here. If you, I have the star highlighted right here. If I unclick that so it's not highlighted, that little drawing panel, my panel of favorite buttons goes away. So this is my panel of favorite drawing tools. So when I click that, everything is back there. And then of course you can move this around and put it wherever you need. Now, I understand this is probably a lot of information. This will be recorded. And I'm also super happy to help with anything I can. So don't hesitate to stop me. But I just want to make sure you guys are kind of familiar with some of these buttons over here. Definitely some of the biggest frustrations are stuck in drawing mode, magnet mode, cursors going all over the place. So just make sure that stuff's unselected. And you can just get to drawing, right? If I want to draw a trend line, I'm going to go to my little favorites bar here, and I'm going to click on trend line, and I'm going to start wherever I want to start. Let's just say right here. And you can do one of two things. You can click right here and let go. And so I've clicked and let go, and until I click a second time, the trend line will follow my cursor, right? So once again, we'll just delete that. I have clicked, and now both hands are in the air. I've let go, and I can just move this to where I want. And then to set that trend line, I'm going to click a second time. So now my trend line has been set. Hey Ron, good to see you. Yes, the price, the price measuring tool, Ron, is that what you're talking about? The one to measure kind of where price went, all that? Yep, I'll go right back to that, no problem. So real quick, with this trend line and kind of with everything right here, one tool that I like to use a lot, and actually we'll get to this in a moment here, but once again, whenever we draw anything, you can click on whatever you have drawn. And when I click on that, you can see there's two circles on the end of it. It's highlighted. And now this option box pops up, right? This gives me the option to change the color, to change the thickness of my line, to make this into an alert. We'll talk about that in a moment. To clone or copy. This is one that I use pretty commonly. Clone or copy. So if I want to clone a trend line, I don't really use the copy button, but if I want to clone a trend line, then that will keep that same angle and allow me to draw a channel, right? So again, when you click on your line, the box will pop up. You can change colors, thickness. You can go into some settings here and make some additional adjustments. Um, and you know, clone and copy is a pretty common one. This clone button, or just delete. Another thing to do is once you get in here, definitely, you know, the default trend line is going to be some really hard to see color. It's like a super light blue against a white background, and it's really thin. So I always just have everyone go in here, change it to black, make it thick so you can see it real good on your charts. Unless you have a black background, then you can make it white, whatever you want. But that will be how we can get in there. Okay, Ron, go back to the price measuring ruler. So again, it's the bottom button down here. You can see all these, you know, long position, short position, forecast, all this stuff. This is the date and price range. And again, you just click on that, you know, change the colors to whatever you want. And if I go from like a starting point to an ending point, this is going to tell me a whole bunch of good stuff here. So from this low, you can see that this low is 81.70-ish, and this high is 83.30 something. So that's going to say that's 164.8. And so that's 164 pips. That's telling us pips. That's also telling us that's a 2.02% movement. It's 125 bars that took 7 days and 5 hours, which actually isn't totally correct because I kind of dragged it up there. So 98 bars, 4 days, 2 hours to get from this low to this high. So lots of great information in there. Lots of really good information in there. So that date and price range tool is super important. Again, if I want to get rid of that, what do? I click on it, so there's little circles on there, and I can hit the little garbage can, or I can just hit backspace or delete on my keyboard, and it's adios. How's everybody feeling so far? Do we have any questions? Does that make sense? Am I kind of covering some of the basics that you guys have wondered about? We're going to work our way over this way real quick and down at the bottom, and then we'll wrap it up. Shouldn't be too long, but I want to make sure everyone's comfortable with everything over here. Okay, when we are adding indicators, if you want to add an indicator to your chart, you click on this little wavy line and a plus button. Now we have our time frames here that we can use. This candlestick button is going to, you know, if you want to use different things, if you like line charts, if you like bar charts, hollow candles, whatever you want, you can select from this candlestick button right here. This is a pretty cool tool. This is the compare button. So if I want to see how, just for example, the CAD yen has run against the euro yen, or just the dollar CAD, or whatever, I can overlay that chart on here, right? Or how does the CAD yen run in relation to the SPY, right? For example. So if I go over here, that's going to give me, there's the SPY, there's the CAD yen, and that's going to give me kind of that overlay, and I can start to see those examples and see, you know, the differences and so on. So the compare button is actually really cool, and I use it quite a bit. Anything I add to my chart as far as like an extra indicator or that compare button or anything, you can go up here. There's kind of a hide and show button. You can go up here and see everything that you have on your charts. You can see I added the SPY. I want to get rid of that. Just hit that little X over there, and it's gone. But compare button's pretty cool. Here's the indicator button. This is how we're going to add indicators. So if I click on that, you can just type in and search anything you want. Like I'm a big fan of the exponential moving average. You can type in moving, and you'll see moving average exponential, moving average, weighted, all this. You can find everything here, and you can just search through whatever you want there. I use specifically the exponential moving average once again, so I'll just type in expo, and that'll show up as that first option. So this is where we can use everything. So I use moving averages, I use pivot points, so you can just type in pivot. I use the standard pivot point here, and we'll show how to kind of do the customizations and the updates and so on. for the pivot points and for the moving averages, and for anything else you want to use. A lot of people like to use, I hear people using Keltner band or channels and envelopes and all kinds of different things. You can pretty much find anything you want in here. Just type it in. You can see there's a really long list of indicators, and they have a lot of great stuff in there. So just go to that indicator button. I added there. From time to time, I'll use the 50 moving average, so exponential, 50 exponential moving average. If I click on that and put that on my chart, it's gonna come up like this little guy right here. You almost can't even see it. See how that's real small in there? I'm gonna go to my show indicators button here, and you can see, get the candlesticks out of the way there, you can see that it just added the default EMA 9 close. So I'm gonna click on this little settings button here, and I can change the length if I wanna make that the 50, and close, offset, that's fine. Style, that's where I'm gonna change the color. Maybe I want that to be black so I can see that more easily. And also the thickness. So that's the thinnest right there. You can kind of see it in the background, starting to pop up there a little bit. Thick, thicker, thickest. And there's my 50 moving average. So that's how we can add kind of any indicator here. You might find yourself, as I mentioned, as you guys know, I like to use pivot points quite a bit. So if I'm adding pivot points to my charts, let's go back to this indicator button, and let's go to pivot points standard. So if I click on that, again, it's going to pop up down here. Let's go to the 1 hour chart, for example. So it says pivots traditional daily 15. Right? You can see all my pivots, right? Pivots traditional weekly 60, pivots traditional daily 100, traditional monthly 15. So this is just saying, this is kind of the default how it'll pop up. If I put that in there, and actually I've saved my default, so it's a little bit different than what you guys will see coming up. But what will pop up is your screen will probably look like this. And might be traditional, might be on auto. So when you put a pivot point on, your screen might look like that, and you'll think, I've broken something, right? The chart's not working, and I messed something up. Not the case. You just want to go in there when you're adding your pivot points, just click on settings right there, and you want to make sure, I use daily, weekly, and monthly pivots, so you're going to have to do this process 3 times. So I go in here and I say, okay, the first one I want is daily. And I want it to look back, right here, this is telling us it'll look back 15 days. I usually look back, what do I have mine set at? 100. I look back 100 days on pivot points. So I'm just going to type in 100. And then I'm going to go over here, and I don't care about S1, R1, S2, R2, any of that stuff, because that makes the charts look all scrunched. I don't really use those anyways. So I just unselect everything. So I'm just getting rid of those guys and those guys. And now my chart's back to a normal size. And I just leave my pivot. I just want to show the pivot point itself. And then I change the colors. So like my daily pivots are blue, and my weekly are green, and monthly are purple. So that's how we set that up. So that's our pivot kind of customization there. How's everybody doing so far? Are you guys, are we answering some questions? Is this kind of helping familiarize you guys a little bit with the platform? It's a great platform. It's definitely one that takes a little tiny bit of getting used to, but once you use it more than just a couple of times, I'm on here daily, all day, every day. Use it a couple of times, and you'll be super, super familiar with it, and it will be super helpful for you. Good, Tony, excellent. Okay, and guys, any questions you have, don't hesitate, let me know. All of our indicators over here are tools over here that we can use on the charts. Time frames, indicators, compare buttons over here. We're getting to a couple of things. You can add some things for stocks. If you're a stock trader, you can, watch some of these criteria down here that'll pop up on the bottom of the chart. Obviously not something we use in the currency side of things, but it's a cool tool for the stocks. I've got my, you can save with the two wavy lines right there in the plus button. You can save templates, right? So I've got some templates saved here that I look at and so on, and you can just save a template by clicking Save Indicator Template, and that's saved on your chart. So if you want to use, kind of a multiple different chart setups, that's a good way to go by saving that indicator template, right? So that's one way to do it. Another way to kind of save and have multiple charts. I know a lot of people like this, maybe you have, 2 or 3 indicators you look at when you're doing some short-term trading, and maybe you have 2 or 3 indicators you look at when you're doing some longer-term trading, or different charts for stocks versus charts for Forex, whatever it might be. That's a good way to save different templates, right? So just this little button next to the alarm clock, you can save an indicator template, or you can also do it over here. You click on New Chart Layout, that's going to give you a clean chart that you can put indicators on. You can name it, and then it'll be saved under your Load Chart Layout. So the charts that I use, here's a couple of different charts, that I'll look at from time to time. But I can select from one of those, and that will show me that chart with that indicator. And I can kind of have both up and running. So that's kind of a nice little tool there. So you can do it, again, under your name, whatever your name is, or whatever you've named the chart, excuse me. You can go to New Chart Layout. That'll create a new chart for you. And you can put the indicators on there, name it, and then it'll be under your Load Chart Layout button. And kind of as a backup, you can also, use the indicator template button over here. So far, so good, everybody. If you have any, problems with any of this, if you need any help, like I said, head to the website, send me an email, jump in Telegram, anything, and I'll be happy to help, and we'll, and we can make more videos and do more stuff regarding this. But kind of a good little way to walk through how to find your way around and use these buttons. Okay, so that's what kind of a lot of the basic buttons are. One button that I love in particular is the screenshot button. So if I draw a chart, you guys know, people that are in my trade groups and so on, you know that I post a ton of screenshots. And I don't have to use any kind of outside tool or anything. I just do my drawings, whatever it is, and I hit this camera button, which is take a snapshot. I hit that, and I can either copy and send that link. So now that has copied a link to my clipboard, and that's the chart. Or I can download and save the image right here, and I can right-click and save image as, and do all of that stuff. So that all comes from just hitting that little snapshot camera button up there and having this box pop up. So it's a really great way to take screenshots, save screenshots. Especially a lot of times people are new traders, and they say, I wanted to see what that chart looked like when I got in, and then how it looked when I got out. This is a great way to do it. This, you can say, okay, I just took a buy trade on this CAD yen right here, and I'm going to save the screenshot, and you can either save the link or just download the image, whichever one you want. And then you can kind of compare notes of, how the chart looked when you got in, how the chart looked when you got out. Okay, so there's some of those tools and features, which is great. Kind of working our way over to this side over here. I'll cover just a few more things here, and then we're just about done. But coming over onto this side, here's my watch list, and I actually have multiple watch lists. For my currency trading, I just put everything in my watch list over here. Anything I want to add, I can just type it right up here. And then I can select which feed I want, and then, again, I'm using the first feed, so I just hit enter, and that will add it to my watch list. You can delete things from your watch list by just, whenever you just hover your mouse over anything, a little red X will pop up, and you can delete anything you want in there. You can also move things on your watch list just by clicking and dragging. If you want, excuse me, certain things to be grouped together or in a certain kind of order or anything like that, you can just do it right from there. So the watch list is great. You can create multiple watch lists. Like I said, I have quite a few watch lists in here, and so you can kind of look at all that stuff from just that little button. You can create a new watch list. You can rename your watch list. You can import, export your watch list, and so on. You can delete them by just clicking on the X. So that's our watch list feature, and that's the best way. I don't want to always be typing stuff in, right? So I just say, okay, you know, show me this chart, show me that chart. I don't want to be typing in constantly, so using the watch list would be the best. If you're on a chart and you think, oh, you know what, I want to add this to the watch list, you can absolutely type it in, or you can just right-click and add to watch list. So nice little feature there. So watch list, you know, pretty basic stuff. Here's our alerts, right? So we talked about the watch list. Now here's the alert section. You can add alerts here by clicking the plus button, but the best way to do it is adding an alert right from your screen. So if you're saying, guess what, I want to know when the CAD yen is reaching this high, because maybe that's as far as I want to take this buy trade and I want to get out with profit. So you can just put my crosshairs right here, and I can click on this little plus button. And that will say add alert for CAD yen at that price. And if I hit that, it'll say, okay, the alert's been added. But I might also want to customize that alert a little bit. So I just go to that red line, and it's telling me, hey, you've got an alert right here, and your alert is CAD yen crossing 83.37, 371. So if I double click on that, that's going to pull up the box of options that I can use to edit this alert. Now I have mine set at show pop-up, so that means it's going to pop up on my chart and make a little sound. And I also have it set to play a sound, so it'll make a little beep. And it's also going to send me an SMS, a text message. Now, you can have it send you an email. I get way too many emails, so I don't want it to send me an email. But I do have it send me an email to SMS, which is basically a funny word for, it's just a text message. And so they use kind of an email server for that. So to have it send you a text message, here's what you have to do. You have to, just so that I don't show everybody my phone number, and you guys are all welcome to have it, but for the sake of keeping a little bit of something there, I'm going to show you how to set this up in just 1 second. But this is the cool feature right here, right? On an alert, I can say CAD yen, and I'll always do something like this. I'll delete that and say CAD yen reaching daily high, check chart, might be time to take profit, right? So you can type yourself any kind of message. So now this is going to come to your cell phone. You can type yourself any message you want here. There's obviously a limit of how much you can type in there, but that's going to be sent to your cell phone now, and you can go back and check your chart and say, oh, you know what? That's, you know, because sometimes I'll set a lot of alerts and I'll forget exactly why I wanted to look at that chart. And so when I'm sitting doing my charting and I set that alert and I write that note, that will be sent to me, and then I don't have to think, what was I trying to do there? And so that's a great way to just, you know, stay up to date with your charts. So to send an SMS to email, here's what you have to do. You have to go over here, this upper left corner here, click on the 3 lines, go to your name. You want to go to profile settings. Again, this is going to show my phone number, so I don't want to go over here yet, but you go to profile settings, and on the right side there will be an an email to SMS where you can add. There's going to be a place to add your phone number. That's not the place. You want to make sure it's the email to SMS box. There's only a few boxes over here, so add your number under the email to SMS. And what you have to do is find who your carrier is. They actually have a link in there, and you want to find who your carrier is, because to add an email to SMS number, let's just say you have Verizon, you're in the US, or you have AT&T or whatever. Let's just say you have Verizon. So you would type in Verizon email to SMS or email to text, and just Google that. And what that'll tell you is this is the format that you have to add that. So if your number is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, it'll be that at vtext.com. Or if you have, you know, AT&T, right? Email to SMS. So they're going to say, for that, it's text.att.net. So it's going to be your phone number at this. So when you're adding your phone number in there, so you can get those email to SMSs, you've got to make sure that you, and wherever you are, right? If you're in Canada or UK or anybody, whatever it is, just type in the name of your cell phone provider, email to text, and they'll give you this list, and that's how you're going to add it in there. So profile settings, your phone number at that, you know, cellphoneprovider.com or whatever it is. And that's going to give you the ability to have these text messages sent right to your phone with that special note in there. Does that make sense? Anybody need a little review of that? Does that sound good? Seem okay? Everything good there? So those are some of the biggest features that I use. A few other things would be, and don't hesitate, guys. I'm all ears. I'm all ears. You've got, you know, you've got some other details in here. I don't use too much of this stuff on a regular basis. You know, you've got financial news and you know, some ideas I've published, and there's a public chat there and all that stuff. I'm pretty much at the watch list and my alerts. That's kind of the places I'm at. Now, another great feature of TradingView, and you can see there's news headlines down here as well, which is kind of cool. Another great feature is the trading panel. So you can click on trading panel down here. We have a Forex screener, we have a stock screener, crypto screener, notes. You know, you can do some editing. You know, just like MetaTrader has MT4, or excuse me, has MQL4, where you can make some of these indicators. The Pine editor is the same kind of thing. So if you're real computer savvy, dive into the Pine editor. Just Google it, you'll be fine. You can do some strategy testing, which is super cool. So once you develop something, you can test that strategy right here on TradingView, which is super cool. And then you've got your trading panel. And the trading panel is where you can trade directly from the charts through your broker. Now, if you're US-based, the only chart to broker you can do is Oanda and Forex.com. There's a few other, you know, well, and there's TradeStation, of course. If you're outside of the US, you'll click on this trading panel and you'll see more broker options. You can also set up a paper trading account and do some practice there, and that's a pretty cool little feature. So on that paper trading account, that's going to, you know, give you the option to, I'm just right-clicking and I'm clicking on Create Order, and that's kind of cool. So you can buy, sell, and set your take profit, stop losses, and put those trades on. So it's a good little way to do some practice. If you want to get out of that, go to paper trading, and you can select any of your other brokers again. Okay, so that's a lot of stuff. I could go on for another 2 or 3 hours, but I think that kind of gets everybody hopefully how to use indicators, how to find your buttons, how to do all this stuff. This will all be recorded. I'm happy to answer any questions. I'm happy to help with anything I can. Just let me know what I can do to help. But that's pretty much all. That's pretty much what we need to know to get started on everything here. Oh yeah, one more thing to just kind of bring up. Down here, you'll have a zoom in and out button. So you have lots of good stuff here. You can zoom in and out. You have a scrolling wheel on your mouse. I can just scroll and get a big view. I can zoom in and out, do all that stuff. So hopefully that is helpful. That will kind of get you going on there. Okay. Highlight the trend line and show how to set. Oh yeah, that's right. That's thanks, Linda. Thanks. So to set an alert on a trend line, you just highlight that that trend line, for example, and when that box of options pops up, you just click on the alert button. And now it's going to, instead of having a specific price selected, it's going to say crossing that trend line or touching that trend line. So it'll alert you once the price comes back and touches that trend line. So if it comes back and touches that, you'll get alerted. And you can again type, any question or anything you want in there. And that's a great, that's a great tool, because one thing that I use quite a bit, if I'm waiting for something to kind of make a breakout, right? I'm looking for it to kind of do this and start to break through, then I can just set an alert right there and say, breaking out of channel, breaking trend line, and that can remind me to go over and look at that and realize there's a breakout happening, and maybe I want to trade that down or something like that, right? Does that help, Stan? Does that help? Is that answering your question there? Yes, Talamba, I will send the recording for sure, because I know it is a lot of information. Mucho. Okay, any other questions, guys? Questions, don't hesitate. And guys, once again, when you add any indicator to your chart, any drawing that you do, any indicator you add, if you sign into your chart from any computer, including the mobile app, you're going to see these drawings saved under your profile. So we want to see those drawings saved under our profile. Just meaning when you log into TradingView, everything that you've drawn on here, everything that you've done is saved. You don't have to save a chart every time you draw a trend line. It'll just be there. I can go over here, and if I come back to that CAD yen, that drawing is still there until I delete it. So we don't have to save a million charts. Okay. What do you guys think? Everything good so far? Everything good? Good. Yep, absolutely, Sassy. Yep. Watch the video, get familiar with it, just play around with it. You can't break anything. If anything crazy happens, send me an email, let me know, if we need to do another webinar to kind of get everything going, we definitely can. Okay, good. All right, guys, remember, for anybody that's, unfamiliar with me or who I am or anything, if you have any questions, just head over to daytradersfx.com, send me an email, jump in Telegram, anywhere you know how to get a hold of me, just reply to the email that you received, to, the invite to this webinar, whatever. I will be happy to answer any questions for you. Thank you, Tony. Thank you. And thank you, Jeff. Thanks, guys, for being on. Lovely to see you all. Have a wonderful rest of your day. And like I said, any questions you need help with, just let me know. And good luck with your run on TradingView. The only thing I would strongly recommend, it's a tiny bit overwhelming, possibly in the beginning. Just use it and get familiar with the platform, and it will become so second nature and so easy. But you'll have a few frustrating, first times of using it, but then it gets much easier. For me now, it's really hard to use any other platform, because I feel like this one's so easy to use, and there's so many good drawing tools and so many great things. So good, guys. Okay, anything you need, let me know. Otherwise, very good luck on everything, and we'll see you soon. Take care, guys. Have a good morning and a great rest of your weekend. Take care.